I stand in the doorway of Madison's birthday party, watching my sister bask in the glow of another perfect moment. The crystal champagne flute in my hand catches the light, and I imagine how satisfying it would be to send it shattering against the pristine white wall behind her head. My name is Chloe, and I've spent 25 years being the shadow to Madison's spotlight. Speech! Speech! Mother's voice rings out above the crowd, her designer dress matching Madison's because of course it does. The guests part like the Red Sea, creating a path between my sister and her adoring audience. I stay rooted in my corner, knuckles white around my glass. Oh, I couldn't possibly, Madison demurs, but her eyes are already scanning the room, drinking in the attention. She's wearing the pearl necklace father gave her for graduation, the same graduation where my gift was a pat on the back and a reminder to keep trying. Just a few words, darling, father chimes in, his arm around mother's waist. They're the picture of proud parents, beaming at their favorite creation. Madison straightens her spine, practiced smile in place. Well, if you insist. She raises her glass, and 50 other glasses rise in response. Mine stays down. I just want to thank everyone for making my 27th birthday so special, especially my wonderful parents, who've always believed in me and supported my dreams. The words hit like acid in my stomach. I take a long drink, remembering last week's conversation with Mother. Why can't you be more like your sister? Madison never needed help with rent. And of course, Madison continues, my little sister Chloe, who's always been there, in her own way. The patronizing tone makes my teeth ache. Aunt Lisa catches my eye from across the room, her expression sympathetic. She's the only one who sees through this charade. To family! Madison concludes, and the crowd echoes her sentiment. I drain my glass and grab another from a passing waiter. The alcohol burns, but not enough to dull the rage building in my chest. Everyone's clustered around Madison now, offering congratulations, compliments, business cards. She's a rising star in corporate law, mother's pride and joy, father's golden child. Quite a turnout, comes a voice beside me. It's Ethan, my boyfriend, arriving fashionably late as usual. His presence should be comforting, but tonight it just highlights how out of place I feel. He belongs here more than I do, with his successful graphic design firm and effortless charm. They'd show up for the opening of an envelope if Madison's name was on it, I mutter. Chloe. His tone carries a warning I choose to ignore. The champagne's working its magic now, loosening my tongue and my inhibitions. I watch Mother adjust Madison's hair, the gesture so tender it makes me want to scream. When was the last time she touched me like that? I should go congratulate my sister, I announce, pushing off from the wall. Ethan reaches for my arm, but I shake him off. Maybe wait until you've sobered up a bit, he suggests. I'm already moving, drawn like a moth to Madison's flame. The crowd parts again, this time with whispers and sideways glances. They know what's coming. They've seen this show before. Madison, I say too loudly. The conversations around us stutter to a halt. Wonderful speech. Really touching. Especially the part about family always being there for each other. Her smile freezes. Thank you, Chloe. I'm so glad you could make it. Wouldn't miss it. After all, what kind of sister would I be if I didn't show up to celebrate your perfect life? Your perfect job? Your perfect relationship with our perfect parents? Perhaps we should discuss this later, she says through clenched teeth. Why later? Everyone's here now. Let's talk about how you've never had to struggle for anything, how doors just magically open for you while I'm left knocking until my knuckles bleed. Mother appears at Madison's side, her face tight with anger. That's enough, Chloe. You're making a scene. I'm making a scene? I laugh, and it sounds unhinged even to my own ears. I learned from the best, 25 years of watching the Madison show, always the supporting actress, never the star. The champagne glass in my hand suddenly feels too heavy. Without thinking, I let it fall. The crash silences the room. Tiny crystals scatter across the hardwood floor, catching the light like stars. There, I say into the shocked quiet. Now you have something real to talk about at your next perfect party. I turn and walk out, leaving behind the wreckage of both glass and relationships. It's only when I reach my car that I realize my hands are shaking. This is the moment everything changes. This is the day I stop being the other sister. 3 days after Madison's party, I'm hiding in the kitchen at my parents' house, pretending to help Mother with Sunday dinner while she pretends I don't exist. The silence between us is thick enough to cut with the knife I'm using to massacre these carrots. Those need to be uniform, she says finally, eyeing my handiwork. Madison's bringing her new colleague from the firm. Everything needs to be perfect. Of course it does. I deliberately cut the next carrot into jagged chunks. I saw the article about Madison in the business journal, she continues, adjusting the temperature on her precious roast. Youngest associate to make partner track at Harrison and Wells. Did you see it? Must have missed that one. I've got the clipping stuffed in my desk drawer at home, right next to the rejection letter from the same firm. The doorbell chimes. Mother straightens, smoothing her apron. That'll be them. Try not to. She trails off, but I hear the rest. Try not to ruin this like you ruined the party. I follow her to the foyer, where Madison's already introducing her guest to Father. The man's wearing a suit that probably costs more than my monthly rent. His name's James or John or something equally forgettable, and he's looking at Madison like she hung the moon. Chloe, Madison says, her tone carefully neutral. I wasn't sure you'd come. Wouldn't miss it. I force a smile that feels like broken glass. Someone has to keep things interesting. Father clears his throat. Let's move to the dining room, shall we? We arrange ourselves around the table like actors on a stage, everyone playing their assigned roles. Mother serves the wine. The expensive bottle, saved for special occasions, special meaning Madison's occasions. So, Chloe, James or John says, probably trying to be polite. Madison mentions you're in marketing? Customer service, Mother corrects before I can answer. At that little boutique downtown. Temporary position, I say, gripping my fork. While I figure things out. She's between opportunities, Madison adds helpfully. But I'm sure something will come along eventually. I take a long drink of wine. Not all of us can have Daddy's golf buddies smoothing our career paths. The table goes quiet. Madison's face flushes. I worked hard for my position. Girls, Father warns, but I'm already leaning forward. Did you work hard for that corner office too? The one that mysteriously opened up right after Father's donation to the firm's charity foundation? That's enough. Mother's voice could freeze hell. Madison earned everything she has. Karen, Aunt Lisa speaks up from her end of the table. Maybe we could. No, let's hear it, I interrupt. Let's talk about how Madison earns everything while I earn nothing. How she deserves everything while I deserve nothing. Stop it, Madison hisses. You're embarrassing yourself. I heard you and Mother last week, I say, the words tumbling out like poison. In the kitchen, talking about my lack of ambition, my failure to launch. Tell me, Mother, does it physically pain you to have such a disappointment for a daughter? James or John looks like he wants to disappear into his soup. Father's staring at his plate. But Mother meets my gaze with steel in her eyes. If you're quite finished with your performance, she says, perhaps you'd like to explain to Madison's colleague why you're so intent on sabotaging your sister's success. Karen, Lisa tries again, sharper this time. No, Lisa. She needs to hear this. Your sister has worked tirelessly to build her reputation. She's respected, accomplished, responsible. While you... She gestures at me dismissively. You throw tantrums at parties and waste your potential working retail. The words hit like slaps. I push back from the table, chair scraping against hardwood. At least I earned my job without Daddy's checkbook. Madison stands too. That's not fair. You have no idea. What's not fair is spending my entire life as your understudy, I snap. Always in the wings, watching the Madison show. Well, guess what? I'm done being the backup plan. I grab my purse and head for the door, Lisa calling after me. Behind me, I hear Mother's voice. This is exactly what I mean. No sense of propriety, no consideration for others. The front door slams behind me with satisfying force. In my car, hands shaking on the steering wheel, I notice a text from Ethan. "How's dinner going?" I type back, "Just got my motivation. Time to stop playing nice." The response comes quickly. "What are you planning?" I start the engine, a cold clarity settling over me. Something that'll make the party look like a warm-up act. Because if they want to cast me as the villain in Madison's story, I might as well make it worth their while. The manila envelope sits heavy in my hands, delivered by a private investigator who owed Aunt Lisa a favor. Inside are documents that could shatter Madison's perfect image: bank statements, credit reports, and emails that tell a very different story than the one my sister presents to the world. I spread them across my kitchen table, piecing together the truth like a jigsaw puzzle of betrayal. Madison, the golden child, is drowning in debt. Designer clothes, luxury car payments, and a mortgage she can't afford, all propped up by secret loans from our parents. My phone buzzes. It's Sophie. "You need to get down to Harrison and Wells right now." "Why?" "Because your sister's having a complete meltdown in the conference room, live stream worthy." I grab my keys, the documents forgotten. 20 minutes later, I'm standing in the marble lobby of Madison's law firm, watching through glass walls as my perfect sister comes undone. She's pacing, mascara streaked, gesturing wildly at James or John from Sunday dinner. Their voices carry through the supposedly soundproof walls. "You can't do this to me," Madison's saying. "I brought in those clients. They're mine." "The partners have concerns about your handling of the Robertson account," he replies. "And given the recent irregularities we've discovered, my father will hear about this." "Your father's influence isn't going to fix this, Madison." I step closer, drawn by the spectacle. Other employees are pretending not to watch, but their phones are suspiciously positioned. "Everything I've done," Madison's voice cracks, "everything I've sacrificed, the numbers don't lie." He slides a folder across the table. "Neither do the timestamps on those altered documents." My sister stops pacing. For a moment, she looks small, vulnerable, like the girl who used to crawl into my bed during thunderstorms before mother taught her that perfect daughters don't show fear. "Please," she whispers. "I can't lose this too." Something shifts in my chest. This isn't the Madison I know, the untouchable success, the family favorite. This is someone desperate, cornered. James or John stands. "Security will escort you out. Clear your office by end of day." I duck behind a pillar as Madison storms out, but not before I catch the look on her face, the same lost expression I see in my mirror every morning. My phone rings. "Mother, have you heard from your sister? She's not answering her calls." "No," I lie, watching Madison's retreating back. "Why?" "There are rumors." She pauses. "Never mind. Just, if you see her, tell her to call me immediately. The situation needs to be managed before it affects the family's reputation." Of course. Heaven forbid Madison's fall from grace tarnish the family name. I follow my sister at a distance, watching her fumble with her car keys in the parking garage. She drops them once, twice, hands shaking too badly to manage the lock. "Need help?" I step out of the shadows. Madison whirls, eyes wild. "Come to gloat?" "Depends. Is it everything you hoped it would be? Having everyone's approval? Living up to their expectations?" "You have no idea what it's like," she snarls. "The pressure, the constant scrutiny. Try being measured against perfection your whole life and coming up short every time." She laughs, bitter and broken. "Perfection? You think this is perfection?" She yanks open her car door, pulls out a stack of papers. "Look at your perfect sister now." Bank notices, collection letters, final warnings. "They'll bail you out," I say. "They always do." "Not this time." Madison's voice is hollow. "I crossed a line. Used client funds to cover everything. Mother and father can't fix this." I think of the documents on my kitchen table, the ammunition I'd planned to use. But this is better than anything I could have orchestrated. "What will you do?" I ask. She meets my eyes, and for the first time in years, I see my sister instead of my rival. "Run, disappear. What else can I do?" I should feel triumphant. This is what I wanted. Madison's perfect life crumbling, her mask finally slipping. Instead, I feel something else, something uncomfortable and familiar. Madison, don't! She gets into her car. Just don't! I watch her drive away, my phone buzzing with messages from Mother, from Ethan, from Sophie. But all I can think about is how victory tastes like ash in my mouth. Because in destroying Madison, I might have just destroyed the only person who truly understands what it means to be trapped in this family's web of expectations. The eviction notice feels like a death sentence pinned to my door with surgical precision. 3 months of unpaid rent, the same 3 months I spent plotting Madison's downfall instead of looking for better work. Karma has impeccable timing. My phone lights up with Ethan's call. I let it ring. He's been hovering since Madison's meltdown at the firm, watching me with those concerned designer eyes, probably wondering if I'm next in line for a breakdown. The hallway spins slightly as I slide down against my apartment door. 2 hours until my shift at the boutique, where I'll smile and fold overpriced sweaters while pretending my life isn't unraveling like cheap fabric. My laptop chimes with an email notification. Mother's name appears in bold. Family dinner tonight, non-negotiable. Your sister needs our support during this difficult transition. I laugh until my neighbors probably think I'm crying. Or maybe I am crying. It's getting harder to tell the difference. The boutique is unusually busy when I arrive. Rich women hunting designer bargains like sharks scenting blood. I'm arranging a display when I overhear them. Did you hear about Madison Reynolds? The embezzlement scandal at Harrison and Wells? Karen must be devastated, all that social climbing, just to have her daughter disgrace them like this. I heard she's fled the country. No, she's in rehab. Or was it a mental hospital? Their voices fade as they move to the next rack. I've dropped 3 silk blouses, my hands trembling too badly to fold them properly. Chloe? My manager appears, clipboard in hand. A word? The back office feels like a confessional booth. She doesn't look up from her papers as she speaks. Given recent circumstances, we feel it's best to part ways. Recent circumstances? Your family situation has become somewhat high profile. Our clientele expects discretion. I want to scream that I'm not Madison, that I'm the other one, the invisible sister. Instead, I remove my name tag with numb fingers. Mother answers on the first ring when I call. I can't talk now, dear. We're meeting with the crisis management team about Madison's situation. I lost my job. Well, perhaps if you'd pursued a real career like your sister, she catches herself. We'll discuss this at dinner. The line goes dead. I stand in the parking lot, clutching my phone like a lifeline, when Sophie pulls up in her beaten Volkswagen. Get in, she says. You look like you need a drink. The bar is mercifully empty at 3 in the afternoon. Sophie slides a whiskey across the sticky table. Aunt Lisa called me, she says. Told me about the eviction notice. I'm handling it. Like Madison handled her problems? The whiskey burns going down. Don't! You're both so busy destroying each other, you can't see you're the same person. We are nothing alike. Sophie's phone buzzes. She glances at it, then shows me the screen. It's a news article. Local law firm scandal deepens. Senior partner David Reynolds implicated in daughter's financial fraud. Father's name hits me like a physical blow. The article mentions offshore accounts, falsified documents, years of systematic fraud, all to maintain Madison's illusion of success. Your revenge just took out your whole family, Sophie says quietly. Feel better? I leave her at the bar, driving aimlessly until I find myself outside Aunt Lisa's house. She opens the door before I knock, like she's been waiting. I saw the news, she says. Did you know? About Father's involvement? She steps aside, letting me in. Come see something. In her study, she pulls out an old photo album. There's Madison and me as children, but also older photos. Lisa and Mother as teenagers, standing in front of a house I don't recognize. Your mother wasn't always like this, Lisa says. Before she married your father, before the social climbing and the desperate need for status, she was different. She was free. What happened? The same thing that's happening to you and Madison. This family has a way of turning love into poison. My phone buzzes again. Another email from Mother. Dinner canceled. Your father's attorney advises against family gatherings until the investigation concludes. Lisa touches my shoulder. Stay here tonight. We'll figure something out tomorrow. I nod, suddenly exhausted. The guest room hasn't changed since I was a kid, hiding from thunderstorms and family dinners. In the darkness, I scroll through old photos on my phone. Madison and me at her law school graduation, both of us smiling, before everything imploded. I send her a text. Where are you? The response comes hours later. Somewhere they can't find me. Somewhere they can't pretend anymore. I stare at the words until they blur, wondering when winning started to feel so much like losing. Aunt Lisa's spare room becomes my war room. 3 laptops spread across the bed, each screen tracking a different piece of my family's implosion. Father's legal troubles splashed across news sites. Mother's social media going dark. Madison's digital footprints growing colder by the day. My phone lights up with Ethan's message. Your new website just went live. Sure about this? I stare at the homepage of Reynolds Family Truth, my masterpiece of carefully curated destruction. Emails, bank statements, court documents, all telling the story of my family's carefully constructed lies. The comment section already buzzing with scandal-hungry vultures. Do it, I text back. Lisa appears in the doorway, coffee in hand. You're playing with fire. I'm done being burned. I hit refresh, watching the visitor count climb. They made their choices. And what's your choice, Chloe? Where does this end? Before I can answer, my phone explodes with notifications. Mother's calling, then father's lawyer, then numbers I don't recognize. The first email arrives from James or John at Harrison and Wells. Your father's former colleagues would like to discuss a settlement. Then Mother. What have you done? Call me immediately. Sophie. Holy shit, CNN just picked up the story. I close the laptops, hands steady for the first time in weeks. It ends when they feel what I felt. When they understand what it's like to be powerless. Lisa sets down the coffee. Your mother's outside. The world stops for a moment. What? Has been for 20 minutes, waiting in her car like she's afraid to come in. I move to the window. Mother's Mercedes sits in the driveway, her silhouette visible through tinted glass. As I watch, she steps out, looking smaller than I've ever seen her. I'll give you privacy, Lisa says. But I grab her arm. Stay, please. The doorbell rings. Mother enters like she's walking into enemy territory. Her designer outfit is wrinkled, her makeup slightly smeared. The board is meeting tomorrow, she says without preamble. They're voting to remove your father as partner. Good. Is it? Is this what you wanted? To destroy everything we built? Everything you built on lies, you mean? She sinks onto Lisa's couch, aged decades in days. Madison called. My heart stutters. Where is she? Seattle, working as a barista under a different name. She sounds happy. Mother's voice breaks on the last word. How did we get here, Chloe? You know how. You and father spent years crafting the perfect daughter while treating me like a backup plan. But Madison couldn't handle the pressure, could she? And father couldn't handle her failing. We wanted the best for you both. No, you wanted the best reflection of yourselves. My phone buzzes again. Another news outlet requesting comment. Mother notices. The website, she says. That was clever, using our own weapons against us. Appearances, reputation, social standing. You learned well. I had good teachers. Lisa moves to the kitchen, the clink of cups a counterpoint to the tension. Your father's asking about bankruptcy protection, Mother continues. The firm's clients are fleeing. Our friends won't return calls, even the country club. She laughs hollowly. 25 years of membership, gone with one email. Now you know how it feels to be invisible. She stands suddenly, crossing to where I sit. You were never invisible, Chloe. You were safe, protected from all this pressure, these expectations. We saw what it did to Madison, how it broke her. We thought. She stops, shaking her head. It doesn't matter what we thought. My phone buzzes again. A text from Madison. Mom told you where I am. Please don't. Mother watches me read it. She's healing, finally. Maybe we all need to. It's too late for that. Is it? Look at us. You've won. We're exposed, humiliated, broken, just like you wanted. But has it fixed anything? Lisa returns with tea. Nobody will drink. The silence stretches, broken only by the constant buzz of my phone as the story spreads, as my revenge gains momentum. I can't stop it now, I say finally. Even if I wanted to. Mother nods, gathering her purse. No, you can't. That's the thing about flames, Chloe. Once they start spreading, they burn everything, including the person who lit the match. She leaves as quietly as she came. I return to my laptops, to the growing chaos I've created. But my fingers hover over the keyboards, suddenly uncertain. In Seattle, my sister makes coffee under a false name, finally free of our family's poison. And I sit in Aunt Lisa's spare room, watching that same poison spread through the internet, wondering if revenge tastes like victory or just more ashes. The Seattle coffee shop smells like burnt dreams and cheap espresso. I watch Madison through the window, her dyed black hair pulled back in a messy bun, no trace of the polished lawyer she used to be. She hasn't noticed me yet. I grip my phone, thumb hovering over the publish button that would broadcast her location to every news outlet in the country. Your usual, Sarah? A customer asks her. She smiles, a real smile, not the practiced one from our family photos. My hand shakes. My phone buzzes. Ethan, your father's hearing is tomorrow. Press wants to know if you'll testify. Another message follows from Sophie. CNN's offering 6 figures for an exclusive. They're calling you a whistleblower. The bell chimes as I enter the shop. Madison's back is turned, steaming milk. The whine of the machine covers my approach until I'm at the counter. What can I get? She freezes, pitcher tilting dangerously. Milk spills across the counter, white spreading like a stain. Hello, Madison! Or is it Sarah now? Her colleague moves to help with the spill, but Madison waves her away. Take your break, Jenny, please. We face each other across the coffee-stained counter. Her hands are red from hot water, nails short and practical. No more perfect manicures. How did you find me? Does it matter? I always was better at research than you. She begins wiping the counter, movements mechanical. Are they coming? The reporters? That depends. On what? On whether you deserve this piece you've found. Madison stops cleaning, meets my eyes. And who decides that? You? Our parents? The internet mob waiting to tear apart whatever's left of our family? My phone buzzes again. Mother. Your father's lawyer says the prosecution has new evidence. Please, Chloe, stop this. You ran away, I say. Left me to deal with the aftermath. I survived. Madison throws the rag down. For the first time in my life, I'm actually living instead of performing. No more perfect daughter, no more golden child, no more pressure to be something I never wanted to be. While I stayed invisible, you were free. Her voice cracks. Don't you get it? They focused all their expectations on me, all their dreams and demands. You gotta be yourself. I gotta be nothing. Then be something now, without destroying what's left of us. My phone lights up with another message. Lisa, before you make your final move, there's something you need to know about your mother and me. Madison comes around the counter, close enough that I can smell coffee on her clothes. Remember when we were kids, before all this? We used to hide in the treehouse during their parties, making up stories about running away together. You ran alone, because I was drowning. But this, she gestures at my phone. This isn't justice, Chloe. It's just more poison. The shop door opens. A man in a press badge enters, then another. They've found us. Miss Reynolds? Care to comment on your father's upcoming trial? Madison's face drains of color, her new life crumbling in real time. Over here, it's both sisters. More press arriving now, cameras appearing like weapons. Did you know about the fraud, Madison? Chloe, was this revenge for years of favoritism? Madison grabs my arm, pulls me toward the back exit. Make your choice, Chloe, right now. Are you here as my sister or my executioner? My phone feels heavy. the publish button still waiting. One tap, and Madison's sanctuary burns. One tap, and I win. But winning what? The reporters press closer. Madison's colleague looks terrified. The life my sister built here, the peace she found, it's real. Unlike everything in our past, I open my phone's camera instead, start recording. My name is Chloe Reynolds, I say to the crowd, stepping in front of Madison. And I have a statement about my father's case. Madison's hand finds mine, squeezes once. Behind us, through the back door, I can see an alley. An escape route. The choice crystallizes. I can burn her world down, or I can help her protect it. My phone buzzes one final time. Lisa's message glows. Sometimes the strongest thing isn't destroying what hurt you. It's building something new from the wreckage. The reporters wait, cameras ready. Madison's hand trembles in mine. I make my choice. Lisa's living room becomes a battlefield as Mother paces before the fireplace. Father slumps in an armchair. And Madison stands by the window, still in her coffee-stained apron. I'm perched on the edge of the sofa, Lisa's hand steady on my shoulder. Tell them, Lisa says quietly. Mother stops pacing. Not now, Lisa. Yes, now. Before the hearing tomorrow. Before everything changes again. Madison turns from the window. Tell us what? Your aunt, Mother begins, then stops. Her hands flutter like trapped birds. Lisa was supposed to be the successful one, the one who made it. Father stirs. Karen, don't. She was brilliant, Mother continues, ignoring him. Full scholarship to medical school. Our parents were so proud, and I was the pretty one, the social one, the one who married well. Lisa's grip tightens on my shoulder. But then Lisa got pregnant, Mother says. Senior year of college. And our parents, they couldn't bear the scandal, so they made a choice. They made you choose, Lisa corrects. Tell them the whole truth, Karen. Madison moves closer. What choice? They would pay for Lisa's situation to go away quietly, fund her fresh start somewhere else. But in exchange, I had to be the daughter they wanted. Had to marry David, had to maintain our social standing, had to produce children who would… Mother's voice cracks. Who would never disappoint them like Lisa did? The silence feels like glass about to shatter. So you did to us what they did to you, I say. Created the perfect daughter and the spare. I thought I was protecting you, Mother whispers. Madison could handle the pressure, the expectations. And you, Chloe, you were so much like Lisa, so independent, so fierce. I couldn't watch them break you too. But you did break me, Madison says. All those years of performing, of being your puppet. Do you know how many panic attacks I had in my office bathroom? How many pills I took just to keep smiling? Father stands abruptly. I have to go. The lawyers? Sit down, Lisa snaps. For once in your life, face what you've done. He sinks back down, deflated. I gave up my baby, Lisa says into the heavy silence. Gave up my dreams, my future. Moved across the country and watched my sister live the life that was supposed to be mine. And then I watched her do the same thing to her daughters. My phone buzzes. Another reporter. Another request for comment before tomorrow's hearing. I silence it. I wanted to tell you both so many times, Mother says. But the longer it went on, the harder it became. And then Madison was succeeding, and Chloe was struggling. And it felt like history repeating itself. So you chose Madison, I say, like your parents chose you. I chose wrong. Mother's composure finally breaks. I chose wrong every time. Madison crosses the room, stands before our father. Did you know about all of this? He won't meet her eyes. I knew what was expected of me, of all of us. That's not an answer. The firm was everything, he says. When you started struggling, I couldn't let you fail. The money, the fraud. It seemed worth it to maintain the illusion. The illusion is gone, I say, standing. Tomorrow at the hearing, everything comes out. Not just the fraud, but all of it. The whole twisted legacy. Chloe, please, Mother starts, but Madison cuts her off. No, she's right. No more secrets. No more perfect daughters or family shadows or buried truths. She turns to me. But we do it together this time. No more running, no more revenge. Just the truth. Lisa releases my shoulder, moves to stand between her sister and me. Sometimes the only way to heal is to break everything open first. Mother sinks onto the couch, decades of carefully maintained control crumbling. What have I done to my children? The same thing that was done to you, I say. But it stops here, with us. Madison takes my hand, her coffee-stained fingers interlacing with mine. Together we face our parents, our aunt, our shared history of secrets and lies. Tomorrow we'll tell our story. Not the polished version for society pages, not the vengeful expose I planned, but the real story of two sisters shaped by generations of broken choices, finally choosing to break free instead of breaking each other. The truth might shatter what's left of our family name, but maybe that's what has to happen before anything real can grow from the wreckage. The courthouse steps are crowded with reporters, but they part like water as Madison and I approach. Behind us, mother and father enter separately with their lawyers. Lisa walks between them, head high, carrying decades of secrets about to be unveiled. I adjust my blazer, borrowed from Madison's old closet, smelling faintly of coffee now. She catches my eye, nods once. We've rehearsed our testimony, but truth isn't something you can really rehearse. Inside, the marble halls echo with whispers. I recognize faces from mother's parties, from father's firm, all here to witness our family's final performance. But this time, we're writing the script. Father pleads guilty. The words fall like stones in the quiet courtroom. Behind him, mother's perfect posture finally breaks. When it's my turn to speak, I leave the prepared statement in my pocket. The fraud wasn't just about money, I tell the judge. It was about maintaining an image, about forcing people into roles they never chose. My father's crime was just the visible part of a legacy built on lies. Madison takes the stand next. I was their masterpiece, she says, until I started to crack. Then my father committed fraud to hide the flaws, to keep the illusion perfect, but perfection was always the real fraud. Mother doesn't testify. Instead, she hands the judge a letter, the one her parents wrote when they gave her the ultimatum about Lisa. Evidence of how poison seeps through generations. The sentencing is swift. Father gets 5 years. The firm will recover eventually, under new leadership. The headlines will fade, but families don't heal on judicial timelines. Outside, the reporters surge forward again. This time, Lisa steps up to the microphones. 3 generations of women in my family were forced to choose between truth and acceptance. Today, we choose differently. I feel Ethan's presence before I see him, hovering at the edge of the crowd. He's holding a box of my things from his apartment. Some endings don't need words. Madison touches my arm. Come on, there's somewhere we need to go. We take her beat-up Honda, no more luxury cars, driving until the city fades into suburbs, then into countryside. The old treehouse still stands, weathered but intact, behind our grandparents' abandoned home. I used to come here, Madison says as we climb up, after panic attacks at work, trying to remember who I was before they told me who to be. The floor creaks under us. Sunlight filters through gaps in the boards, dancing across our faces like memories. I found this last week. She pulls out a dusty notebook. Our childhood stories, written in wobbly handwriting. Tales of 2 sisters who could fly, who fought dragons, who never needed anyone's approval to be magnificent. We were braver then, I say. We're braver now. She tears out a page, makes a paper airplane. It sails through the doorway, catching the wind. I'm keeping the coffee shop job, and the crappy apartment, and my real name. What about Mother, the family legacy? Some legacies need to end. She tears out another page. Your turn. I take the notebook, rip out our last story. The paper airplane catches a thermal, soaring higher than the others before disappearing into the trees. My phone buzzes. Sophie sending a link to an article about the trial. The headline reads, Reynolds' sisters break silence, break cycle. Below it, a photo of Madison and me on the courthouse steps, no longer perfect and broken, just real. I got a job offer, I tell Madison. Social media manager for a domestic violence nonprofit. They said my experience with toxic family dynamics was relevant. She laughs. That real laugh from the coffee shop. Look at us, finally writing our own stories. Mother's car appears in the driveway below. Then Lisa's. They stand together in the overgrown grass, looking up at our childhood sanctuary. Not coming closer, not calling out, just witnessing. Think we'll ever be a normal family? I ask. Madison tears the last page from the notebook. Normal's overrated. We tried that. Let's be true instead. She's right. Some things break so they can be rebuilt stronger. Some stories end so better ones can begin. And sometimes revenge isn't about destroying what hurt you. It's about creating something they can't control. I watch our last paper airplane take flight, carrying the ghosts of perfect daughters and family shadows away on the wind. Below us, Mother and Lisa join hands. Above us, clouds scatter like secrets finally set free. We stay in the treehouse until sunset. Two sisters writing a new story, one without villains or victims, just people learning to fly with broken wings.